All right, jumping right into it. This deep dive is all about the role of women in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
It's definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
You sent over this article. The Pope has shown openness to greater roles for women, but there's pressure for him to go further.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fascinating stuff, so we're going to unpack it today.
Yeah, for sure.
Basically, what's the Pope actually saying?
Right.
And, could this change the future of the Church?
Yeah, I mean, this is so interesting because, the Pope's words really matter.
Of course.
I mean, think about it. A 2,000-year-old institution.
Yeah.
Reaching over 1 billion people.
Absolutely.
So even like a small shift from him sends ripples across the world.
True. So the article mentions the Pope being open to greater roles for women.
Yeah.
That sounds promising.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about here?
I think to understand the potential impact, you have to look at the current situation. So traditionally, women have been excluded from ordained ministry, becoming a priest or deacon, and from holding those top leadership positions.
Yeah.
So, the Pope's words do hint at a possible change, but it's like how much change?
Right.
That's really what has everybody kind of like, on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the article mentions pressure on the Pope to go further than just openness.
Right.
Who's actually pushing for this? And what are they actually asking for?
So there are a bunch of groups, both inside and outside the church, who are like, hey, we need to be more inclusive.
Okay.
And so some of them are saying, okay, let's ordain women as deacons.
Okay, so not priests.
Right.
But like a step towards that.
Exactly.
Right.
So deacons, they help priests in all sorts of ways, like preaching and doing some of the sacraments.
Okay.
But then others are saying, no, we need more women in church governance.
Yeah. Like, think of it as like a board of directors.
Yeah.
They make the big decisions for a diocese or even at the Vatican. And these have always been almost completely male.
Interesting.
So they're like, hey, women should have a bigger say.
Makes sense.
In shaping the church's future,
I bet there are a lot of different arguments about all of this.
Oh, yeah.
How are these groups actually making their case?
Well, a lot of them talk about, equality, justice, and recognizing what women can bring to the table.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some are using the Bible.
Oh, wow.
Like pointing to women who were important in Jesus's ministry.
Interesting. Like who?
So there's Junia in the book of Romans. And some scholars think she was actually an apostle.
Wow.
So like a leader in the early church.
That's really interesting. It sounds like they're combining like religious arguments with like modern ideas about gender roles and all that.
Yeah. No wonder this is so hard for the Pope.
Right. It's such a tough spot.
Trying to keep these centuries-old traditions, but also keep up with the modern world.
Exactly.
And I mean, for a lot of Catholics, these traditions are like a core part of their faith.
Cool.
So any change is like scary.
For sure.
Like it's a threat to their whole foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even begin to balance tradition and progress?
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, where do you even start?
I mean, theologians and church leaders have been debating this for decades.
Wow.
Some say, let's take it slow.
Okay.
Expand opportunities for women, but not mess with the core doctrines.
Okay.
Like give them leadership roles in education or social justice programs, even in Vatican departments.
Okay, I see.
But others are like, no, we need a bigger change.
Yeah.
They think that real equality means rethinking some of the basic ideas about gender and ministry.
That makes sense. This could get pretty intense. So what happens if the Pope does go for big change?
Oh, the implications are huge.
Yeah.
Both for the church and like the whole world.
Wow.
For Catholic women, it could mean more leadership roles,
Okay.
a bigger voice in decisions, and recognition for what they do.
Right.
It could also show that the church really cares about gender equality.
Yeah.
And that could influence how society as a whole views women in leadership.
Oh, interesting.
Like imagine if one of the biggest and oldest institutions in the world embraces a more inclusive model.
That would be a huge deal.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot to think about here. So the Pope's openness is a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's obviously just the start of a really complicated conversation.
For sure.
There's real pressure for change. And the potential impact is huge.
Absolutely.
So what do you think?
Yeah. What stands out to you?
What are your thoughts on all this?
Think about the arguments,
The history.
the potential impact.
Not just for the church, but globally.
This is a story that's still being written.
Exactly.
Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, keep thinking about it now.